This recording is for Pre-Algebra Chapter 2, Lesson 10, and your quote comes from Horseradish by Lemony Snicket, Bitter Truths You Can't Avoid, page 110. In love, as in life, one misheard word can be tremendously important. If you tell someone you love them, for instance, you must be absolutely certain that they have replied, "I love you back," and not, "I love your back," before you continue the conversation. All right, on to math. Solving one-step inequalities by multiplying or dividing. Solving inequalities using the properties of equality for multiplication division. Basically, you're trying to get the variable on one side and everything else on the other. And to do this, you're going to perform the opposite operation to get things away from the variable. To do this, what you multiply on one side, you have to multiply on the other. The same for division. So if I divide 2 on one side, I have to divide 2 on the other to keep things equal. Hence, the properties of equality. Yep, properties of equality. Oops. Properties of equality. All right. So here's the big thing, though. Unlike addition and subtraction, there is a catch when it comes to multiplying and dividing negative numbers when you're dealing with inequalities. Obviously, this isn't a problem with equal signs because equal sign is equal sign, but inequalities go different directions. So, big note, if you need to move a negative number from one side to the other, if you're moving the negative from one side to the other by multiplication or division, then you need to flip the direction of the inequality sign. And here's why. Oops. Yep, there you go. Hopefully you all agree that 3 is less than 5. Over here you can say that 3 is closer to 0 than 5, making 5 bigger, right? It is bigger than 3. But what happens if I use the property of equality and I multiply negative 3 by 1 and negative 5 by 1? Well, negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Negative 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Now, is negative 5 bigger than 3? Well, no. In this case, on the negative side, the further you are from 0, the smaller you are, not the bigger you are. So negative 3 is actually bigger. All right, and that's why we have to flip the direction of the inequality. Because I multiplied by a negative number, I need to flip the inequality because negative 3 is now bigger than negative 5. And this holds true for variables and division. So again, if I took 4 is less than 6, and if I divided by negative 1 and divided by negative 1, 4 divided by, well, I don't even have to divide by negative 1. Let's divide by negative 2, just to show you it works with numbers other than negative 1. So negative 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2, and 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. Negative 2 is bigger than negative 3 because it is on the right side. And it's, it's on the right side, so it's bigger. Okay? And again, this works for variables as well. If I say that x is bigger than 4, and I multiply both of these numbers by negative 2 and negative 2, I still need to flip the direction of the sign. So even though this would be negative 2x and this would be negative 8, just because of every time I do something like this, or like, obviously like that or like that, I still have to flip the direction of the sign because I multiplied or divided by a negative 2 on both sides, okay? Or any negative number. Any negative number that you are multiplying or dividing because you had to move it, whatever you do on one side, you have to do the other, that is when you have to flip things, when what you did to both sides was either multiply or divide by a negative number. Okay? Now also make sure that you can graph these things. You still need to be able to graph that, x is greater than negative 2, or x is less than negative 1, or x is equal to or greater than 15. Still got to make sure you graph. So make sure you pay attention to that. All right, next up. All right, so some example problems, and I will make sure that I talk about flipping as I do each problem. Okay, so to get x by itself, I'm going to perform the opposite operation. The opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. So I'm going to divide by 4. Now, did I divide by a negative number on both sides? No, I did not. So that means that my inequality stays the direction it is, okay? Because again, it's only if I multiply or divide by a negative number on both sides that I'm going to have a problem. Okay, next problem. Divide by 3, because the opposite of multiplying 3 is dividing by 3. Divide by 3. M is less than -7. So just because there's a negative in my problem doesn't mean I switched it. Because I'm divided by a positive 3, my inequality stays the same. All right, next problem. All right, so what is the opposite of multiplying by -9? Well, that would be dividing by -9. But hey, I've now officially divided by a negative number on both sides, which means I need to flip the direction of my inequality. So the -9's obviously cancel out, which is the whole reason we're doing this. I need to flip the inequality because I divided by a negative number, and 36 divided by 9 is -4. Okay? So again, because I divided by a negative number on both sides, that's why I had to switch. And you'll hear me call this flippage. It's just to remind you that you need to flip the direction of your inequality sign when you're multiplying or dividing both sides by a negative number. Okay, so here we go. Number 4, we have m divided by -4 is greater than or equal to 2. Well, what's the opposite of what's the opposite of dividing by -4? Well, that would be multiplying by -4. Hey, guess what? I just multiplied by -4 on both sides. That means I need to do flippage. So m is now less than or equal to -8. Okay, this was a flippage. That's how you spell flippage, by the way. This was also flippage. Okay, 2 more problems. Okay, I can't use orange on top of orange, Misty H. All right, red. Okay, so what is the opposite of dividing by -3? Well, that would be multiplying by -3. Hey, I multiplied by -3 on both sides. That means I need to flip the direction of my inequality. You guys getting the hang of this? So this was flippage as well. All right, last regular problem. So what is the opposite of dividing by 7? Well, that would be multiplying by 7. Hey, I multiplied by a positive number, so nothing changes with my inequality. R is greater than, well, 5 times, -5 times 7 would be -35, huh? So there we go. So this one, not flippage. Okay? So you got to pay attention to that. If you multiply or divide by a negative number on both sides, that means that you need to flip the direction of the inequality. All right, last problem is a word problem. An elevator can carry up to 2,500 pounds. Suppose the weight of an average adult is 150 pounds. At most, how many average-sized adults can safely ride the elevator without going over? Can't go over. So, what we need to do is we need to say that we need to be less than, whatever's going on over here needs to be less than 2,500 pounds. Well, if the average adult is 150 and we multiply that by the number of adults, we're going to get how many adults can ride. Okay, so we have 150 times x, because x is the number of adults who can ride. And if we divide by 150 on both sides, what are we going to get? All right, let me bust out my calculator. Even Miss H uses a calculator. What I can do, though, is cancel some stuff out, which leaves me that the 250 divided by 15, x is less than or equal to 16.6 repeating. Now, here is one of the biggest lessons in math, at least when we're using math to apply it to real world. Do we have 0.6 repeating of people? No. We're not cutting people in half just so that we can get the maximum number of people on a ride. No, half a person doesn't count. Okay? So really, x is less than or equal to 16 because we can't take this 0.6 of a person. That would be like, all right, here's my person. All right, before you can ride the elevator, we can cut you in half, right? No, that's not going to happen. So we can only take up to 16 people. We can take less than 16 people, but we cannot take more than 16 people because we're not cutting people in half. Okay, that concludes my recording. See you guys later. Bye.